Good morning, everyone. So we're now up to the 1920-1921 season, but we also forgot to talk about this. April 1918 begins on a Monday and ends on a Tuesday. May 1918 begins on a Wednesday and ends on a Friday. And June 1918 begins on a Saturday and ends on a Sunday. Yeah. March 1919 began on Saturday and ended on a Monday. April 1919 begins on a Tuesday and ends on a Wednesday. May 1919 began on a Thursday and ends on a Saturday. And June 1919 begins on a Sunday and ends on a Monday. That's the definition is that the Athens will get there. April 1919 begins on a Thursday and ends on a Friday. May 1920 and April 1920 begins on a Thursday and ends on a Friday. May 1920 begins on a Saturday and ends on a Monday. And June 1920 begins on a Tuesday and ends on a Wednesday. So now you're going today is the day you're going to get banned. They said, if we're caught, we're caught. Alright, July 1920 begins on a Thursday and ends on a Saturday. August 1920 begins on a Sunday and ends on a Tuesday. September 1920 begins on a Wednesday and ends on a Thursday. October 1920 begins on a Friday and ends on a Sunday. October 1920 begins on a Monday and ends on a Tuesday. And December 1920 begins on a Wednesday and ends on a Friday. So this is Wednesday, December 22nd, 1920. And that is loss number one for Toronto. And that's also 6 goals against. And yeah, Thursday, December 23rd, 1920, no change there. This is Friday, December 24th, 1920, no change there. This is Saturday, December 25th, 1920, and that's win number one for Toronto, and that's 2 points on the season, and that's 10 goals against for them. Yeah. And also, I wanted to mention something too. So that the 12 losses they had last year was their fewest losses they've had since the 1917 1918 season. So yeah. So yeah. So we had to, I kind of had to apologize for not mentioning that yesterday. So this is Sunday, December 26th, 1920. No change there. This is Monday, December 27th, 1920. No change there. This is Tuesday, December 28th, 1920. No change there. This is Wednesday, December 29th. No change there. And that's loss number two for Toronto, and that's 18 goals against them. Yeah. So that this is Thursday, December 30th, 1920. No change there. This is Friday, December 31st, 1920. No change there. This is Saturday, January 1st, 1921. January 1921 begins on a Saturday and ends on a Monday. This is Saturday, January 1st, 1921. No change there. This is Sunday, January 2nd, 1921. No change there. This is Monday, January 3rd, 1921, and that's win number two for Toronto, and that's 4 points on the season. It's also 22 goals against for them. 22 goals against for them. This is Tuesday, January 4th, 1921. No change there. So I don't know if that is January 4th, 1921. No change there. Actually, we can go back to 1922. And 24 points on the season. I think that this became Saturday. Yeah, yeah, it was like okay, there. So by Tuesday, January 4th, 1921, no change there. This is Wednesday, January 5th, 1921, no change there. This is Thursday, January 6th, 1921, no change there. This is Friday, January February 7, 1921, no change there. This is Saturday, January 3rd, 1921, and that's loss number, or January 8th, Saturday, January 8th, 1921, and that's loss number 3 for all, and that's 25 rules again. Yeah. This is Sunday, January 9th, 1921, no change there. This is Monday, January 10th, 1921, no change there. This is Tuesday, January 11th, 1921, no change there. And this is Wednesday, January 12th, 1921. And that's win number 3 for sure. Oh, that's 6 points on the season, and that's 27 goals against. Yep. This is Thursday, January 13th, 1921, no change there. This is Friday, January 14th, 1921, no change there. This is Saturday, January 15th, 1921. That's loss number 4 for Toronto, and that's 32 goals against for them. Yeah. Yeah. So this is Sunday, January 16th, 1921. No change there. This is Monday, January 17th, 1921. And that's loss number 5 for Toronto. And that's a 2-game losing streak. The longest losing streak since the 1921 season. So, yeah, that's 1920. And this is Tuesday, January 18th, 1921. No change there. This is Wednesday, January 1921. And that's win number 4 for Toronto. And that's 8 points on the season. And that's 43 over again. Yeah. This is Thursday, January 20th, 1921. No change there. This is Friday, January 21st, 1921. No change there. This is Saturday, January 22nd, 1921. And that's win number 5 for Toronto. And that's 10 points on the season. Win number 5 for Toronto. That's a 2-game winning streak. The longest winning streak since the 1919-1920 season. That's 10 points on the season. And that's 47 goals against for them. So, yeah. So, this is Sunday, January 3rd, 23rd, 1921. No change there. This is Monday, January 24th, 1921. No change there. This is Tuesday, January 25th, 1921. No change there. This is Wednesday, January 26th, 1921. And that's win number 6 for Toronto. And that's a 3-game winning streak. The longest winning streak since the 1919-1920 season. And that's 12 points on the season. And that's 50 goals again for them. Yeah. And this is Thursday, January 27th, 1921. No change there. There. Yep. This is Friday, January 28th, 1921. No change there. This is Saturday, January 29th, 1921. And that's loss number 6 for Toronto. And that's 54 goals against, too. So, yeah. So, this is Sunday, January 30th, 1921. No change there. This is Monday, January 31st, or 31st, 1921. And he said, oh, where was Walker? Yeah. And that is Monday, January 31st, 1921. No change there. There. And this is Tuesday, February 1st, 1921. So, okay. And what was the franchise record in the 1917-1918 season? I think this season beats that record for points in a season. And it had 26 points. Yeah, so. And it's Tuesday, January 1st, 1921. February 1921 begins on a Tuesday, ends on a Monday. So, yeah, Tuesday, February 1st, 1921. No change there. Alright, no change there. And he said that if behavior is off the good, so I don't see it there. And of course, no. 1921. And that's loss number 7 for Toronto. That's 58 overall, and it's also a 2-game losing streak for them. Yep. This is Thursday, February 3rd, 1921. No change there. This is Friday, February 4th, 1921. No change there. Yep. This is Saturday, February 5th, 1921. And that is win number 7 for Toronto. That's 14 points on the season, and that's 64 goals against for him. That's 14 points on the season. Yep. So this is Sunday, February 6th, 1921. No change on the season there. Monday, February 7th, 1921. No change there. This is Tuesday, February 8th, 1921. No change there. This is Wednesday, February 9th, 1921. And that's win number 8 for Toronto. That's 16 points on the team, and that's also a 2-game winning streak for them. And that's 67 goals against. Yep. This is Thursday, February 10th, 1921. Especially once the season gets longer here. Yep. Anyway, this is Friday, February 11th, 1921. No change there. This is Saturday, February 12th, 1921. And that's win number 9 for Toronto. And that's 18 points. And that's a 3-game winning streak, the longest winning streak since the 1920 season. And that's 18 points on the season, and that's 71 goals again. So yeah. And that is Sunday, February 13th, 1921, and that's no change there. This is Monday, February 14th, 1921, no change there. This is Tuesday, February 15th, 1921, no change there. And that's Wednesday, February 16th, 1921, and that's win number 10 for Toronto. That's 20 points on the season. And that's win number 10 for Toronto. That's a 4-game winning streak. The longest winning streak since the 1919-1920 season. Yep. And that's 20 points on the season. That's 74 goals again. So yeah, so this is Thursday, February 17th, 1921. Yeah, they're back in it. Yep. So this is Friday, February 18th, 1921. No change there. And this is Saturday, February 19th, 1921. And that's win number 11 for Toronto. And that's 22 points on the season. And that is a 5-game winning streak for the longest winning streak in franchise history. And that's 22 points on the season. That's 78 goals against. And this is starting to approach last year's point total. So this is Sunday, February 20th, 1921. And that's no change there. This is Monday, February 21st, 1921. No change there. This is Tuesday, February 22nd, 1921. No change there. And this is Wednesday, February 23rd, 1921. And that's loss number 8 for Toronto. That's 85 goals again. Yep. So this is Thursday, February 24th. No change there. This is Friday, February 25th, 1921. No change there. And this is Saturday. Yep. This is Saturday, February 26th, 1921. And that's win number 12 for Toronto. That's 24 points on the season, and that's 87 goals again for them. And we're definitely right at the level we were last year. Yep, so this is Sunday, February 27, 1921. No change there. This is Monday, February 20, 1921. And that's loss number 9 for Toronto, and that's 91 goals again. So, yep. This is Tuesday, March 1st, 1921. March 1921 begins on a Tuesday, ends on a Thursday. Right here, yeah. So that's win number 12 for Toronto. Toronto, no change there. Yeah, and this is Wednesday, March 2nd, 1921. And that's win number 13 for Toronto. That's 26 points on the season, and that's a 93 over. Yeah, the 26 points on the for Toronto is their highest point total since the 1917-1918 season. Yeah, this is Thursday, March 3rd, 1921. No change there. This is Friday, March 4th, 1921. No change there. This is Saturday, 1925, March 5th, 1921, and that's win number 14 for Toronto. That's a two-game winning streak. And that is 28 points on the season. That's their highest point total in franchise history, and that is 96 goals against. Yeah. And that is Sunday, March 6th, 1921. No change there. This is Monday, March 12th, and this is Monday, March 7th, 1921. And that is win number 15 for Toronto. That's 30 points on the season. That's 100 goals against. And that's a 3-game winning streak for them. And that is 30 points on the season. It's their highest point total in franchise history so far. And the 100 goals against is also their lowest goals against number since the 1918-1919 season. So yeah. Yeah. April 1921 begins on a Friday, ends on a Saturday. May 1921 begins on a Sunday, ends on a Tuesday. And June 1921 begins on a Wednesday and ends on a Thursday. So, yep. So now on to the playoff for 1921. For the year 1921, after his formal type. The Senators beat Toronto in 2 games, and then they beat Vancouver, the Vancouver Millionaires, to win the Stanley Cup. So yeah. Yep. If I'm not mistaken, in 1920, Phoenix and Rasmussen decided series on January 4th, 1920. Advantage Rasmussen at Capricorn on Venus and Rasmussen at Capricorn on January 9th, 1920. Venus and Rasmussen moved to Aquarius on February 22nd, 1920. And then Venus and Rasmussen the Pisces on March 18, 1920. And Venus and Rasmussen the Aries on April 11, 1920. Venus and Rasmussen the Taurus on May 6, 1920. Venus sets at 26 degrees Taurus on May 28, 1920. Venus and Rasmussen to Gemini on May 30th, 1920. The Venus and Rasmussen into Cancer on June 24th, 1920. Venus reaches superior conjunction at 11 degrees Cancer. The last time Venus reached superior conjunction at this time of the year was in 1912. Venus and Rasmussen in the Leo on July 18th, 1920. Venus rises in the evening sky at 25-degree Leo on August 8, 1920. Venus and Rasmussen the Virgo on August 12, 1920. Venus and Rasmussen his Libra on September 5th, 1920. Venus and Rasmussen the in the Scorpio on September 29, 1920. Venus ingressed in the Sagittarius on October 24, 1920. Venus then ingressed into Capricorn on November 17, 1920. And then Venus ingressed into Aquarius on December 12, 1920. Yeah. So Mars ingressed into Scorpio on January 31st, 1920. Mars stations retrograde at 9° Scorpio on March 14, 1920. The last time there was a Mars retrograde this time of the year was 79 years ago in the year 1841. And then 47 years before this was in the year 1873. Venus reaches opposition on April 21st, 1920. Oh yeah, and Mars Mars retrogrades back into Libra on April 23rd, 1920. And then Mars stations direct on at 21° Libra on May 31st, 1920. So the last time Mars stationed direct at this time of the year was in the year 1841, and then in 1914, and then in 1841, and in the year 1873. Mars ingresses in the Scorpio on July 10, 1920. September, and then Mars ingresses in the Sagittarius on September 4th, 1920. Mars ingresses into Mars ingresses into Capricorn on October 18, 1920. And then finally ending the year with Mars ingressing into Aquarius on November 27, 1920. You don't do that. We haven't been editing with this community for years. And basically it was here we go have the horse word. For the editor we not applying it. So Jupiter ingresses into Virgo on August 27, 1920. And that's where it is. It actually starts 1920 off in the Jupiter in its retrograde. Jupiter stays retrograde at 18° Leo at the end of the year, before stationing correct on April 3rd, 1920, at 8° Leo earlier in the year. So yeah, so that's kind of it for that. And now on to the introduction. I think everybody said, yeah, please ignore everybody. I think they really wanted to encourage more and more people to do. I think the last time Jupiter was in Virgo would have been in the year. Are you okay, man? And we all explained what happened. And everybody explained, hey, Yeah, Jupiter reaches. We have a Venus Jupiter conjunction her construction in the 1920s. The last time it occurred at this time of the year was 24 years ago in the year 1896. So yeah, and the last time Hoover went into went into her was in the year 1908. Yeah, it was 1908. Yeah. So that is kind of it for today's episode. I hope everybody enjoyed it. And we'll talk again next time. So, alright guys, we're the Hope now. Hope everyone has a wonderful day. Alright, bye bye everybody.